What about that deal for Lewis? What about the fee? Is that about right? If it is around 3 million, which is being spoken about, do you think that's an appropriate figure?
Yeah, I think it's a good price. You look what Aberdeen paid. I think it was about £180,000. They got Lewis for
To Hamilton, yeah.
Yep, from Hamilton as a development fee. And listen, Lewis has been, for me, really good for Aberdeen, but also Aberdeen have been good for Lewis, giving him that platform. It was Derek McInnes that put him into the team straight away, Rob. If you remember, I remember him scoring that goal down at Burnley, overhead kick. But listen, it's what a move it is for him. I mean, you seen what happened to Aaron Hickey. He went over to Bologna. You go into a different country, a different way of playing football. You'll need to learn a different language as well. But I think getting this move, I think it's going to be brilliant for his development.
One of your boys, of course, Lewis's cousin, has played abroad, so maybe it's in the genes that there is that willingness to take a chance and learn about a new language, new culture.
Yeah, listen, it'll be hard because he's still only 22, but his girlfriend will be moving over with him, and I'm sure the family will go over as much as
you'll
possible.
It's the food capital of Italy. You'll be visiting.
But listen, I'll make him. I honestly believe that, because it's a tough league, Serie A. There's a lot of quality teams in it, a lot of quality players. And I'll go back to the young man Hickey, who went over there a couple of years ago. He's just moved to Brentford in the Premier League for £17 million. So it's a market that the Italians are certainly looking at. You see the young left back from Hibs, Doig. Looks if he's going to be moving to Verona. So fair play to these young boys, because you don't really see it happen often, Rob. Young players going and moving to a different country. But I'm sure if once Lewis gets over there and gets settled, he'll become a big player for Bologna.
And I think it's fair to say he's been champing at the bit, hasn't he, really, for a new challenge?
Yeah, I think he's been ready, Rob. But I said on this show at the start of last season, I thought he was ready last summer.
And I think he thought he was going, didn't it, last
to get
summer?
that move. I think it was Watford that were in for him, but Aberdeen wanted too much money. But fair play to Lewis. He got his head down and continued to work hard. Had a decent season in a struggling Aberdeen team last year. You done every home game you would have seen. I think probably him and McCrory were the standouts for Aberdeen. So I think for Lewis' development and going forward and trying to force his way into that starting 11 in the national team as well, getting this move across to Serie A, I think he'll come on leaps and bounds as a footballer.
I think there's a lot more to come, isn't there? I mean, he scored 16 goals last season, which from midfield is a sensational return. He has been a big player from Aberdeen, as you say, right from the first day when he was pitched straight into the team. But I think probably he needs this move. He needs to kickstart, and I just look at him playing, and I think there's just so much more to come.
Yeah, well, we all know, Rob, football's about opinions. I believe Lewis as a central midfielder is better getting let off a leash and getting in people's faces and getting running into that box off a main striker. I thought Aberdeen he was playing that holding midfielder, which he can do no problem, but I prefer him that bit further forward. Now I know people have got different opinions on it. I think he's better further forward as a midfielder. I think he's the player that will get you 10 or 15 goals from open play. I know he's a penalty taker. Vast majority of his goals last year for Aberdeen were from the spot, but I like him when he's let off a leash and he can get about the pitch and get forward. And as I said, I do think there's more to come from him. It'll be interesting to see where Bologna actually see him playing. Whether is he going to be that number 6 or is he going to be the number 8 or number 10? For me, I think he's a number 8.
So you think he was a bit? I mean, I think you're absolutely right as well. I mean, you thought he was a bit restricted at Aberdeen in the defensive responsibilities they gave him in the midfield.
I thought that watching the Aberdeen games last year, Rob. I mean, as I said, you done every home game and you were the same opinion. I just thought there was more to come from him. I would be watching the games and think I want to see a bit more. And then when he moved that further forward, for me, you seen the real Lewis Ferguson. As I said, getting in people's faces, driving forward with the ball, getting beyond that central striker. And for me, I believe that's Lewis's best position, that attacking midfielder.